Alright guys, I just wanted to come and talk about Dogecoin. It's an interesting topic. Since Saturday Night Live, Elon Musk came on, but nothing major was revealed. And I watched a guy that owns a ton of it, watched a couple different people report on it. And I think it's an interesting topic when you look at Doge. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a blue-collar worker. So everything in this video is just for entertainment purposes only. It's just to put some research that I've done out there. It's just my perspective on Doge. Doesn't mean anything, so take it with a grain of salt. But if it helps shed some light or point you in the right direction to do some research and find out some stuff about it yourself, that's all this video is about. So on Saturday Night Live, you had seen it go up, and it hit a peak where it was close to 70 cents. All kinds of people bought in, thinking that it might go up to $1. And I watched a ton of people lose a bunch of money that I knew that they bought in. They just kept it they thought it would just keep on going. And I'm not saying that it won't hit $1, but now they're stuck holding for a long time. Some of them sold with a loss. So personally, from my perspective, I look at a lot of different hash lines. Some of them are resistant barriers. When you look at the resistance, first it had to get to the point where it could hold at 10 cents, then 20 cents, then 30 cents. And when you look, you know that it hit 70 cents, close to it. So when the top is around 70 cents, just like the stock market, a lot of things that have went to a half mark. They've halved themselves out. So right now, you want to take in, you want to try to get to 35 cents. And currently, it's around 30 cents right now. It's went up to 33. We want to hit 35. And you want to take and realize that it's going to not just necessarily jump straight back up there. Then again, it might. No one can actually predict what's going to happen with anything. But compared to Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum is one that is similar to Doge, where they can keep creating more of that token. With Bitcoin, there's only so many. Litecoin, there's only so many. So if I jump into this, I can take and start to gauge looking at June, and that's going towards where the indexes hit. When you look at that, it gives me resistant barriers. Now, where I shaded the blue, we're kind of above that 20 mark. The hope is that we stay above the 20 mark. Now, we topped out on August 14th there at 33 cents, almost 34 cents. So we're getting close to that half mark. So getting close to that half mark, I would say that the time to buy would be around now. And that's with the hope and prediction that it doesn't drop below 20 again, and that it continues to shoot up and rise. And once again, this is just a YouTube video. Don't invest in stocks based on a YouTube video. Do your research, do your due diligence. Make sure you check into as many things as you can. Check with your financial advisor. Check with your accounts. Don't be bankrupting yourself to invest in stuff. Only invest if you actually put in the knowledge, the time, and base it on your predictions yourself from doing your own research. From my predictions, I think that this will continue to rise if it gets enough demand. So demand and supply. But then I can counterintuitive that in this same conversation, which is where I can show you where as below 20, and as above. So you want to try to take and think that this will go towards the 40 mark, but it has to go through a chart, and it has to take and have ups, and it has to have downs, and it has to go through a cycle. As it's going through this, I marked back here where it hit 33 cents. Currently it's dropped down, and it's around 29. Now it has to go through this, and then you want to hope that it will break this resistance barrier. So right now you're at one of those barriers where you want to see it shoot back up and then go above the 33 cents, continue to rise towards the 43. Now I'd seen this tweet, and when I read it, it notes a personal investment portfolio. Now, it might note a personal investment portfolio, but when you look at the people that are actually accepting methods for payment, and you look that Dogecoin Festival is coming up. Now, I saw this headline: Doge holders can now buy a Tesla using Doge. The Doge Festival accepting payments for tickets in Dogecoin, and Mark Cuban announcing his basketball team. So, with Dallas supposedly accepting Doge, it brings me to that supply. So, when you look at supply and demand, there's 129.5 billion as of May 9th, 2021. Now, if you want to think about it, it might be able to hit $1 to $10 in the next decade. But every year, there's 5 billion released. 129 now, 5 billion released. In the next decade, 50 billion. That means it puts it at almost 180 billion Dogecoin out there. So for every year released, there's 5 billion. So every decade, there's 50 billion. That means that it will climb and it will fall. And this is why I think it will climb and then it will fall again. Because at 5 billion, that's another 100 billion in 20 years. So as above, so below. Can it hold? I would say probably by 2021's end, going into 22. In 2022, it will probably be $1. But say it climbs $1 per year, I could see it going for the next 1 to 20 years. And can it hold for a long term? I would say no. And the reason is because in 20 years, you're going to be at 230 billion Doge. But when you actually look at 100 years at 5 billion a year released, and in 100 years' time, they're going to release 500 billion Dogecoins compared to 84 million Litecoins, and the amount of Bitcoin, this is going to be the cheaper currency. So can it hold for a long-term pattern and be worth something? Possibly. But I would say that over 1 to 20 years, you might see $1 rise per year. But by 2040, if I was to predict now where to put my money, I think Dogecoin is a good investment for a short-term 1 to 20 years. But if you're looking at a long-term 20 to 100 years, I would say that's never going to hit $100. At best, you might hit up to $20, but by the time that happens and you release another 100 billion Doge, it's going to start to have to level itself out, and then it's going to decline, and then eventually in 100 years, it will probably flatten itself out. So this is just my look at how much Doge is being pumped out. And I want to take you back to this because it shows you right now we're at 30 cents. So I would say that right now, yeah, for the next 20 years, and if paper currency isn't worth as much and you need another form of payment, Doge is probably going to become that form of payment. And there's many other forms of payment out there in the token world. So I would say that checking this out as far as a short term, and you know that it can at least rise in the next 10 years and be going from 30 cents to $1, possibly $10, you can see a pretty hefty investment gain coming out of it. But I would say looking at it to last for generations, I'm speculative on this being a generational coin that goes into the future generations and generations going 100 years compared to like Bitcoin or Litecoin. But on the short term, this is the people's coin that it is affordable to the 80% of the world that is under 75,000 a year. So if you make under 75k a year, I would say that this is the coin that you're going to see a lot of people using in the future. But it's also that coin that don't invest in this coin personally. And remember, I'm not a stock advisor, I'm not a financial advisor, just a blue-collar worker. But if you're looking for a coin that's going to hit $100, there's plenty of coins out there that have already hit 100. They have reasons why they've hit 100, and they have reasons why they can hold at 100. And then you have ones like Bitcoin that are way up there, and if you have $45,000 burning a hole in your pocket, maybe buying a Bitcoin might make sense to you compared to buying a ton of Dogecoin at 45,000. But if you look at what's going to hold 100 years from now, that Bitcoin's probably going to hold its value 100 years from now and be worth 100 times more compared to Dogecoin that will probably rise and then fall and then possibly even flatline. So when you look at a lifeline for generations to come, for those people that are putting things away for generations, I'm speculative on this coin, but I think in the short term, you're going to see this coin definitely rise to $1, definitely rise to $5, definitely hit $10. If it can, it will make it to $20. But I think that after 20 years and $20, I would say that I'm out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.